Hello, my name is Marc Lanteigne. I'm a senior research fellow here at NUPI, and I'm very pleased to have with me Professor William Callahan from the London School of Economics, Department of International Relations, speaking on the issues of China's Belt and Road Initiative, otherwise known as BRI. I guess the first question I would have for you is, how does BRI fit into your current research?
BRI is really interesting because I first started researching about it because I was interested in China's peripheral diplomacy, about how China was refocusing from focusing on the US and Europe to refocusing on Southeast Asia and Central Asia. And so I read a lot of Xi Jinping's speeches and read a lot of documents. And what I found is that while China is refocusing on its periphery, it has much grander ambitions, and that the Belt Road Initiative is initially to deal with Southeast Asia and Central Asia, but it actually wants to deal with all of Eurasia and kind of the east coast of Africa and the Middle East. So I started thinking that this is much more than diplomacy. This is much more than economics. This is part of Xi Jinping's grand plan. And it's Xi Jinping's grand plan to realize the China dream of the great rejuvenation of the Chinese people. I've been studying the China dream for the past 5 years, and it's been interesting to see how Xi Jinping has taken it from a very general idea of feel good to be Chinese, be proud to be Chinese, to make it quantifiable, to kind of build or to kind of have a final plan for BRI by 2021 and kind of finish the BRI project by 2049. So it's interesting how he takes these very broad ideas and then builds it into this sort of socialist central economic planning way of dealing with China and the world.
Yeah, certainly the Belt and Road Initiative is extremely ambitious. It involves not only, as you say, land routes as well as sea routes, Indian Ocean, Eurasia. It involves more than one continent. It is involving Central Asia, Africa, and of course Europe. This is going to be probably one of China's most ambitious foreign policy initiatives in quite some time. But I was wondering if you can comment, even though we are talking about the early stages of this initiative, I was wondering if you can comment about how you see it developing in the near future, what kind of outcomes you see, and just what directions you see the policies going in.
I think that what China will do is make sure it has some early successes right away. And so one of the things that Beijing has done is it's actually rebranded a lot of already existing regional development projects as the Belt Road Initiative. So the various corridors, the China-Pakistan corridor and then the China-Southeast Asia corridor have been on the books for a while, but now they've been rebranded as BRI, and once they finish in the next year or so, then Xi Jinping and China will say, hey, success. Same thing with the various railroads connecting China with Western Europe. They've been in the planning stages for a while. They were completed, I think, last year. They're already running, and they're being hailed as a success of what China can do for Europe. So this is a sort of thing I see happening. It's going to roll out kind of slowly but progressively with a bunch of very specific achievable goals, achievable projects. The risk, of course, is that a lot of other countries are excited about BRI, and that BRI is actually more successful than Beijing anticipated, and that there are a lot of countries and companies and peoples who want to get in on BRI, and Beijing doesn't have the capacity to build all of these roads, build all these railroads, build all the bridges and pipelines. So that will be where the politics comes in about which projects Beijing chooses to fund and to build. That's, I think, is the most interesting thing right now.
Very insightful. Thank you very much for your insights into this. Thanks.